All right. Well, look, back to business, guys. Back to business. Okay. So where all of us now are starting to get a bit of a hang about the lies we are being told here. We're starting to get that now. We're starting to understand that it's not just sort of one-off big whopping lies like geoengineering, climate change and all this stuff. And it's not just other whopping lies like, coronavirus and stuff like that. But it's a whole bunch of other lies about who we are. Who we are. I mean, the human being or the human species, what we're capable of. Because we're constantly being told we're just a bunch of useless eaters. We're just a bunch of goyim, you know. And that's just not true. That's just not true. Over the last 11 years that I've been on this journey of discovery, I mean, I started off, discovering a lot of the deceptions that was happening outside of me and around of me. Historical deceptions and all of the other spin doctoring stuff. But later on in this war, in this journey of discovery, I've been finding out more about myself, and that's becoming very interesting. I mean, I'm learning words like manifestation. I never heard of that before. Never heard of it. And all of my speckled fairy spiritual friends, mainly women, but some guys as well, these girls are just bloody fantastic. And they've been teaching me a lot about all of the other powers that we have. So it's been an interesting journey, folks. It's been an interesting journey. Now, what are we witnessing? I'm going to sort of start at the back of my talk and then move forward. Look, what are we witnessing right now in Australia and all around the world? The evidence that I am seeing is this. I am seeing millions of people who are doing everything they can to get out of and escape the matrix. Let's call it that, the matrix, okay? They are doing everything they can. I'm seeing families, not one or two, but suburbs of them, pulling their kids out of school and homeschooling. I'm seeing families pull everything they can away from the doctors and Big Pharma and going holistic medicines. I'm seeing families, pulling everything out and watching and refusing to entertain corporate media anymore. Instead, they're sourcing their information from regional groups and, clusters of neighbours and stuff like that. I'm seeing an exit of millions of people trying to get the hell out of this matrix. I'm seeing thousands of common law people who have lost all faith in our justice system. All faith. They have no faith in our law enforcement and our justice system. They're all trying to get out of the jurisdiction of the maritime law and all of this stuff. Okay, so that's what we are seeing, people. All around Australia I go, I see people wanting to get the hell out of this matrix, what we're living under. And I'll go back and start at the beginning of my talk, okay? One of the things that's been driving me mad for 11 years now is the fact that we can't even agree amongst us, amongst the freedom movement, amongst the truther movement, what the problem is. We haven't even got the first base. And the reason for that, of course, is that the entire freedom movement's been fully infiltrated by vested interest and sectarian groups and secret societies, and, the usual scumbags. They've all infiltrated the freedom movement. That's who's running the entire narrative right now. We can't even get to the problem. let alone talk about a solution. Now, I want to start with the problem. Do we, and this is the question I ask, do we, yes or no, let's keep it nice and simple. Let's do it Queensland style. Nice and simple. Do we, yes or no, do we have a belligerent occupation upon Australia?
Hell yes!
Yes or no? Is this belligerent occupation holding us hostage?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And I say that everyone that answered that in the affirmative is true, because when you look at, okay, they may say it differently, they may say it in their own way, but when you look at what Romney Stewart says, he says it's a belligerent occupation. When you listen to what Wayne Glue says, in his own way, like an outback trucker, he says we have a belligerent occupation. When you listen to Rod Cullerton, in his senatorial political way, in fine speak, but he says that we have a belligerent occupation. When you look and read and listen to everything Dick Yardley says, he says we have a belligerent occupation. Then you got Rick Bosey and all of his uploaded research and analysis, all saying the same thing, all saying it in different ways, from different angles, in different languages, but all saying the same thing, that all of this shit that we are living under, all of this tyranny that we are living under, has not one shred of legal foundation, lawful foundation. It hasn't. It's either unconstitutional, or it's breached this act or that act, or whatever it had been qualified for, etc., etc. And, you know, it goes up, what Rod Cullerton has now uncovered. They're not using the seal, the Great Seal, and all this stuff. So none of it, there is no argument here. There is no argument. We are living under a belligerent occupation who are holding us to ransom, to hostage. That's an undeniable fact. And we should move on that basis. We should stop, or any attempt to dilute that, to get that message, or to use that message in own ways. That is the fact. That's the first thing. The second question I want to get down to is this. Okay, all right. It's now beyond all question that Australia and many other parts of the world are under a belligerent occupation, right? Now, we know that New Zealand and Canada and America, we know that all of these other countries, not just us, are all fighting the same war here. I mean, the yellow vestas in France, the Brexit Nigel Farages in Britain, the deplorables in the Midwest in America, the Maoris and the other Pākehās over in New Zealand who are fighting their government tooth and nail, the truckers and convoyers in Canada. It's all the same war. It's all the same belligerent occupation. It's this belligerent occupation is all over many other countries, not just Australia. So we need to get that locked in and clear. No arguments. The second thing we got to get and wrap our minds around, and this is the second question, is that what does this Australian belligerent occupation look like? It's one thing saying, well, we're under a belligerent occupation. What does it actually look like? What shape is it? What does it feel like? You understand me? Now, this is not me guessing here. I'm going back to Romney Stewart and Rod Cullerton and Wayne Glue and all of these people, right? I'm relying upon all of that great body of research that these people have put up, thousands of hours. And this belligerent occupation, right, consists of things like, and I'm only just describing it, I'm not being, down in any great detail, we're not preaching or running a university course here. We're just talking, okay? But it's made up of central banking. I mean, Reserve Bank of Australia is not us. Don't know that this currency that we use is all fake. It's all crap. That's all part of the belligerent occupation. So you can safely say central banking is part of it. Then you've got usurped parliaments, right? And that's all of them, not just the national parliament, but state parliaments, etc., all over Australia. And I point to the World Economic Forum's Young Leadership Program. They openly skite about this. They openly skite. Oh, you know, we've got government ministers. They're all ours. You've got secret societies. They're another moving part. Freemasons, Jesuits, Zionists, and from the left, the Fabians, etc. So you've got all these secret societies. They're in the mix as well. They make up this belligerent occupation. Then you've got massive corruption and blackmail of all public institutions, and child abuse is what they use to publicly blackmail these officials. That's what they use, child abuse material. You've got massive corruption and blackmail within the mass media. They're all part of this belligerent occupation. They do all the spin doctoring and the propaganda. They're all in the club. They're all being blackmailed. But there's another group you don't hear much about, but they're in the mix, and you will hear these going forward, and that's the Muslim Brotherhood. They're another little gang, that huge global gang that have got their fingers in everywhere. Okay, all private security in Australia, to the best of my knowledge, and I've been advised by a specialist, all private security companies in Australia are owned by the Muslim Brotherhood. And every single security officer that they employ are all Muslims, all fully licensed to carry the big guns. So we have thousands of these people walking around in our country with uniforms, badges and guns, and they hate our guts. Good mix. We have organised crime syndicates, and we've also got, big money laundering family trusts and so on. So this belligerent occupation is made up of a lot of moving parts. It's got lots of moving parts inside of it, right? And sometimes they fight each other for turf, just like the mafia, family fights and so on. But we are the territory. They fight over us, right? We are the goyim, we're the cattle, okay? So I say, in order to fix any problem, first of all, what is the problem? You've got to get to that point. And the problem is we have an illegitimate belligerent occupation. And two, this illegitimate occupation is made up of these moving parts. And that's why you're never going to get anyone from any of the parliaments. I don't care whether you think people are nice or not, but they're never going to agree to the whole concept that we have a belligerent occupation. Because if they agree to that, it means they themselves are part of the occupation. You understand me? I don't work on whether I like people or don't like. I'm an old communist. I'm a professional. I don't care about any of that crap. I just want to know whose side are you on? Who are you fighting for? They're the important things for me. Well, I don't care about whether I like you. And that's why you're never going to get Pauline Hanson or Malcolm Roberts or Clive Palmer or any of these people who claim to be freedom fighters and all the rest of it. They're never, ever going to agree to the concept that we have a belligerent occupation and that this belligerent occupation is holding us hostage. They're never going to agree to that. Why? Because if they agree to that, it means they're part of it. And they've got to disassociate themselves. They've got to get out of it. And they won't, because it pays too much. I mean, there's three factions, and I use the word loosely, factions, but there's three groups, three factions. You've got us. We're one faction. We are the oppressed, okay? We're at the bottom of the heap. And then upon us, you have a belligerent occupation. Now, the belligerent occupation is made up of the parliaments, the courts, the cops, the councils, all of those power bases that lorded over us. That's who makes up the belligerent occupation. So you've got them and us. But off to one side, you've got a third faction. And these are the opportunists and the profiteers. In all wars, you have these people. In all wars, right? You've got German and the French killing each other in World War II, but in the middle of that thing, you've got German and French people in there trading with inflated prices on goods and chattels and all sorts of stuff, making lots of money. These people are opportunists, right? They fight for no one. They believe in nothing. They are there for themselves. Well, that is the third faction here in Australia. These people who are feeding off this belligerent occupation. And when you look at it and just, deduce it, they feed off our misery. The belligerent occupation they engineer our misery. Every day they make it more and more tough for us just to survive. And these opportunists, other third faction, they prey upon us looking for opportunities to make money out of our misery. I don't care whether it's a doctor trying to sell us more drugs or, the belligerent occupation starts the wars, right? They start the wars. But the opportunist, as soon as the war starts, will open a factory and start to make uniforms and guns and boots, if you understand where I'm coming from. And it's that third faction which has overtaken the freedom movement here in Australia. They fully infiltrated us, and that faction it's overtaken all of it, because for the last 4 or 5 years, this freedom movement has done sweet FA, gone nowhere. All they've done is sucked millions of dollars out of you, millions, right, of dollars. And what have they done with that money? Well, it's either been stolen or handed over to members of the Australian Bar Association running some bullshit court cases, which have gone nowhere. Basically gone nowhere. I'm not saying that lawfare does not have a place in this war. It does. But we aren't seeing lawfare. What we are seeing is a deliberate campaign to bleed out the energy and the lifeblood of the activists here in Australia. And you're now at a point where, most of us are exhausted and broke and disillusioned. And traumatised. The other thing is traumatised. None of that is by accident. That's how this is engineered. Old communists study this stuff. Why? It's because we're normally the ones doing it to you. Take it from me. Take it from me. We're normally the ones. That's why you must be what they call a systems thinker, because you are controlled and managed by these control systems, right? The Freemasons have control systems, but the communists have control systems too, you see. So you got to think systems and understand systems, because what you're going to do right now is you're going to fight your way out of one war and win your freedom, and then you're going to walk straight back into a new trap. That's what you're now going to do. That's what's over. We are no longer fighting for survival anymore. We're no longer fighting to win. We've won. This war has been won. I'm telling you. This global satanic tree has been ring-barked about 6 or 7 years ago by President Trump and the military. It was ring-barked, and it's been dying. It's been dying. And now they're bringing the axes out and they're going to chop this mother down. It's coming down. This satanic tree is coming down. Probably the first time in 1,000 years, according to some of the biblical scholar people. This is something that hasn't been seen in a millennia. I mean, we're so lucky to be alive to witness this. So lucky. And you're one of the handful of the people that can actually understand the storyline that's happening here and how big all of this is. Because we're surrounded by retarded thinking inside of the freedom movement. Retarded thinking, we're surrounded by it. We have infiltrators, we have people who are desperate to try and recapture the narrative. At the moment, we're breaking free out of control systems that have been placed upon us for hundreds of years. We're breaking out of them. And the trap is we're going to walk straight back into a new one if we're not smart. If we don't learn our lessons here, I can tell you right now, mate, we are going to walk straight back into a new trap. They're going to set this up for it. Right? There's only one defence that we have, and that's not depend on leaders and, you know, heroes and all this stuff. And there's only one defence, and that's an educated, switched on, savvy public. That's it. That's it. When you've got a whole bunch of savvy people out there, they're pretty hard to fool. Okay, let me grab my glasses.
Can you see well enough there, John?
So we got to get these two foundation questions very clear. Yes or no, do we have a belligerent occupation? And then what does that belligerent occupation look like? What shape is it? Once you understand those things, then you're going to understand why a lot of these vested interest and political operatives are doing what they're doing, okay? And you are never going to hear them utter those two words. Belligerent occupation, never. They are never going to say that. And that is to keep steering you away down to some other rabbit hole that basically means nothing. Okay? So I want to talk about the national strike, if I can. The national strike, what a great initiative this has been. Announced on the 9th of February and very, very quickly got masses of support, and then very, very quickly went operational, and now has its own website, databases, and a whole team of volunteers in behind it, help putting these strike actions into place and making them successful. It's going really well, okay? We had the strike action number 1, which was the local council rates strike, and that's going well. And the reason we know that's going well is all of the documents that we are serving on these fraudsters. One, we're putting software attached to it, so we know how many people open it. We know where it goes. There's software that you can purchase to track all that. And in one of our documents that we served, and then we tracked that email formally, it was on sent to well over 120 other people, and it was opened by all these other people, including the local government association of Queensland. They're getting inundated with this stuff, okay? It's working. 2, we've just seen the first resignation. The Sunshine Coast up in Queensland, the CEO has resigned, has only been in the job a short while ago, gave 3 weeks notice and bailed out. So she's gone. And more of them are as well. We are starting to see this happening around the place. It's gaining momentum. Sure, it takes time, but this strike action is, we're playing the long hand here. We are playing the long hand, okay? So that's working well. Number 2 strike action was an occupational health and safety strike action, and that was fluoride. That was fluoride. Again, we've had well over 100 councils served with the appropriate documentations to set them up for a legal tsunami, and we're going to shut down the fluoride, the use of fluoride in our drinking and potable water. Strike action number 2. Now they're trying to hive this off. They're trying to flick us from the councils over to water supply people, you know, water companies and so on. And that's fine. We're able, this strike action will chase them as well, but we're on the warpath with that, okay? Now, the latest strike action, and believe it or not, guys, you guys in Tamworth today, you're the first to hear about it. That's it. I'm announcing it today, all right? I was advised last night by the strike team that we're ready to launch, and that I was able to announce it here at today's Tamworth public gathering. Strike action number 3, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be the issuing of bills of exchange. Okay? Kill your bills. That's just off the printing presses. Thank you very much, sir. Really appreciate it, lads, for doing that. Today, if you go to the National Strike Australia website, you will see that strike action number 3 has been released, has been launched today. Okay? It is using the bills of exchange.
1909.
Now, sorry, sir?
1909.
1909. What you're going to find, ladies and gentlemen, is that this strike action, this bills of exchange strike action, has the potential of literally bringing down this fiat currency system. That's how powerful it is. That's how powerful it is. Now, all of our strike actions are aimed at saving us. Minimum risk to us, maximum risk to the belligerent occupation. That's what we're doing here, right? We are being measured, we're being targeted, and we're being careful. But what we're doing is we're trying to alleviate, take the pressure off, this huge financial pressure that's on the people of Australia. First with the rates, trying to get people and showing people a way to save $3,000 or $4,000 in rates, and now with the bill of exchange, which may go and save you who knows, okay? Now you've got the bills of exchange is something you've got to, you can't start it and stop it, right? We are telling everybody, if you start the bills of exchange strike action, you keep going. Don't stop, because if you stop, when pressure is applied back upon you, you undermine the overall efforts that the national strikers are doing overall. So we are saying, and we've already got this, we've already got the first 100 national strikers straight ready to go. These are our special air services national strikers, right? They hate this government, mate. They hate them. And then they are crawling all over to me saying, if we start, we ain't going to stop. So we've already got our A-team ready to go on this.
And what happens when they send the sheriffs and all the police round to your place and demand payment?
To my place?
They won't even get that
To
far.
our place.
They won't get that far.
Well, the bills of exchange, that's not part of it, mate. That's, you use and embark on the bills of exchange strike action, right? That, there's no role in it for sheriffs and police. It goes to court, and when it goes to court, and this is why we're saying don't back out, when it goes to court, we win.
Yeah.
We win.
That's right. Yeah.
Right? And we're encouraging the, at first, our first 100 people are encouraging the councils, the electricity suppliers and all the rest of them to take them to court.
Yeah.
We're asking them, we're saying, do not accept this bill of exchange, take us to court.
Yeah.
We are baiting them to take us to court, because that's where we're going to set the precedents, right? There's going to be no police. There's going to be no forfeits and assets. That's not part of our strategy, not part of the strike action. Okay?
That's just fear porn. What she's saying is fear porn.
Yeah, but what they've done to me is sent Revenue New South Wales on to me and suspended my licence, my commercial licence, because I didn't pay, and then because I sent them a bill of exchange. Amy even refused to do my green slip on my automobile and wouldn't accept bill of exchange on the registration either.
I can't comment on you, right, and how you've handled it, right? I can't. The strike action has been set up, and this is why we got a team of people doing this. We have to make sure that each step of the way it's done correctly. I have no idea how you've executed your bill of exchange. I don't know, and I make no comment on it. I can't. All I know is that we have done our homework properly. We have got the support people in play. We know we're going to run into opposition exactly as you've done, ma'am. Exactly. They are going to resist this to the death. But if it was easy, mate, every bastard be doing it already. No, we are going to take this on. We know that we can win it. It's a winnable strike action. We know that when we first do it, we got to have some tough hombres on our team, people who are going to stick, and that's what we've done. We've asked those people who are a little bit, 50-50. No, this one is not for you yet. Stand back. Stand back. Let the seasoned people take it on.
As far as the licence is concerned, there's many people that I know who travel with no licence, no rego. They've got nothing to do with the government, and those numbers are growing increasingly. And personally, I haven't had a driver's licence and registration since 2021, and I'm one of those people. So it can be done. You guys just have to do your research and do your studies, and don't feed into the fear porn that what if the sheriffs or the police come. That doesn't exist. There's no fear porn about it.
We've just agreed, right? All of us have just agreed that we have a belligerent occupation. We've just agreed what that occupation looks like, and cops are part of it. Didn't we just agree?
Yeah, that's right.
What do belligerent occupations do when you challenge them? They get violent. They get violent. That's what they do. This is part of it. We are not going to be able to get away from that, right? Now, this national strike,
In response to the gentleman at the back there that was talking about a few issues, there was a guy, and John's probably aware of his name, called David Strait. He put out a series called Out of Babylon a couple of years ago. I was telling these lovely ladies here, that's probably not a bad place to start to see how he had done things over there, and it just folds back into what the gentleman was talking about, what you're talking about. John, back over to you.
Yeah, it's very important, everyone, to understand what war that you are in. Okay, very important. There's so many people out there that don't even know that they're in a war. They don't. Then you've got people that think this is a political cycle war. And then you've got other people think that this is some sort of nationality war about sovereignty, and that's it, right?
And a lot of people just don't care.
They don't get it. They don't get it until you get to the point where you understand that we are in a spiritual war. They're after our kids. They're after our souls. Until you understand these aspects to this war, you know jack shit, mate. You know jack shit, and you are a lamb to the slaughter. Because you ain't going to beat this enemy with anything else but the full armour of God. That's it. That's it. That's it, man. Listen, a poem, from Babylonian poem, okay, we talk about. Go into Babylon, my son. The city's towers peak. You'll barely even notice how their poison tastes so sweet. Don't get too caught up in the lights of the bright circus show. I know we can't compete at all with fairy lights at home. You've traded sounds of roosting hens for crowded streets and cars. It's so busy late at night, but you cannot see the stars. How good's the food, you'll hear them say. Oh, different kinds you'll meet. The foreign incense masks the smell of feces in the street. The customs are all strange in there. They'll dance and shout with glee. But in the morning sad they wake. It's pharmacology. Sly salesmen will sell you shiny toys. They're custom made for you. They make you feel so wonderful. But so do brothels too. They'll sell you love in plastic wrap. It's soulless and it's cheap. You'll sow the seeds of emptiness, and this is what you'll reap. The old stone walls are falling down and nothing's built to last. You won't find mothers cooking here. It's purgatory's grasp. Go to Babylon, my son. Go to see it for your keep. But in these words of wisdom still, the poison tastes so sweet. We've been poisoned here in Australia. We've been poisoned by this spiritual shit. And it's nearly taken the lot of us down. And we are the last vestiges that stand against this. We're it. Okay? Not government. No, not military. It's us. Okay? Our kids are the prize. Our kids are the prize. That's what they're after. Okay? This is a very old war, ladies and gentlemen. It's a very ugly one. I never believed that I would stand in public and ever say these words, but the evidence is so clear now to me of what we are fighting. Okay? And unless you understand that, and unless you've got the full armour of God ready to pull over the top and on top of you, you are lambs to the slaughter in this war. Okay? And we've got all these dicks, wankers, fakers, piss ants, the lot of them, trying to lead us out of this. They get me? I'm telling you now, folks, they can't do it. They are all basically, their thinking is retarded. I'm not having to go at people with physical disabilities. I'm saying their thinking is retarded. They don't get it. They just don't understand the war that they are in. So I'm saying this, that the national strike and what we are doing there works with the energy that is being released, right? Remember I spoke before about millions of people leaving Babylon, leaving their homeschooling, their holistic medicines. They're dumping corporate media. They're getting out of the system. They're not paying tax. They're doing common law. All of those people, right, okay, who are getting out of the system, that is energy leaving Babylon, okay? The national strike fits in with that overall energy flow. We are helping people leave the system. We are educating them, helping them, supporting anyone and everyone to leave this Babylonian system. We're not asking you to join anything. We don't want your money. We want nothing out of you. I'm not trying to build anything, okay? I'm not here for any personal gain, anything. Either you want to participate in the strike or you don't. If you don't, move on with your life. That's it. That's it. We don't have to argue with each other and fight with each other. There's nothing for you to join. You don't have to pay any money. I mean, I've had people offer the only money. I don't ask for any money for anything I do. The only money I've ever asked for event organisers like this is because I don't have a car. I can't go places. If you want me to come down, I've got to ask someone, and if you could help them out with some petrol money. That's it. That's all I've ever asked, right? So this is not for personal gain for me, right? This national strike is open for everyone. It doesn't matter if you're in this group or that group or there. It doesn't matter. You can still support and participate in the national strike. I don't care what group you're part of. Doesn't worry me, right? As long as you genuinely support the strike. That's what's important to me. There's no reason why you can't support it, right? And if you can't participate in this national strike, and this is where I've divided the national strikers up in half. I've divided them into two camps. Those people who can and want to take direct strike action, and those people that can't or don't want to take direct strike action, but want to support the national strikers. Let's come back to just an example that you may have touched upon. I've got one lady that wants to use a bills of exchange to cancel a mortgage debt, etc., right? Blah, blah. And she has got a whole bunch of other national strikers who are not doing anything as far as the strike action, but who are coming into her house, barricading her house and locking it all up if the cops and the courts knock on their door. You see? So you're one lady who's doing the national strike action, but you've got a dozen others who are going to go around and back her up to the hilt if the cops or anyone else tries to put any shit on them. You understand me? So that's where we're going. Hang on, Sue, we'll get to questions later. So we have a national strike action 1, 2 and 3 that is working with the energy flow here. Okay, it's helping people and supporting people leaving the system. That's what we are doing. That's what the strike is achieving. Okay. Now, we're not trying to shut the system down through force or any of that stuff because we don't have the force. They have all these guns and horses and dogs and frequency weapons. We don't have that. So we've got to shut it down using other means, okay? So go to the website, check it out, go and examine it all, ask questions, join our social media channels, promote it. Go out and talk to other people and promote it, okay? If you yourself cannot participate directly in a strike action, go and deliver 20 leaflets somewhere. What is no money coming in the door. All of those, what do you call them, beer coasters and bin stickers that were printed up, that was about $5,000 that was spent on that. I spent half of it. I put in half the money out of my own pocket, and 3 or 4 other people put the balance in and we purchased it. We didn't ask for donation. It was just a little crew of us that went out and bought it. And then we put it all up on the web and said, if you want any more, you download it and print it yourselves. You get me? So we're not taking money in. We're not asking to join anything. We're simply saying, do you agree with us? Do we have a belligerent occupation? Yes or no? Is this belligerent occupation holding us for ransom? Are they doing it? Yes or no? And 2, how the hell do we get rid of it? Right? We get rid of it through a national strike. You don't have to join anything. You don't have to give us your money. All you got to do is give us your energy. We want your energy. We want your support. And if you can't take a strike action directly because you yourself aren't built that way, we understand that. But what we say is, come and support someone who is going to take that strike action. Give them, say a prayer for them. Send them an email of support. Drop over and take a cake to them. Do whatever. Or go and sit in their lounge room if the cops try and come in and muscle them. You know, stuff like that. So that's the pathway that we're asking people to take. The national strike is going to keep growing. You watch it, it will keep growing, it'll keep getting bigger. The strike actions are going to get bolder and bolder and bolder. Okay. All right, let's open it up for some questions, ladies and gentlemen. You've got one, you had your hand up?
I've forgotten it.
Okay. Oh, well, remember it. Who else? Any other questions, guys? I'll sit down and we'll open it up.
Other countries are getting in on it as well, aren't they, John?
What was that?
Other countries are getting onto the national strike.
I can't hear you, mate.
Other countries are getting in onto. They're doing the same idea. They got the idea of you to do the national strike. Is that right?
Tuesday afternoon at 2 o'clock. Keep your eyes out for this. I'll be in Sydney, but Rick Bosey and myself will be doing a interview with Chris Guy, the Canadian activist, on the national strike, and we're going to be talking about this going internationally. Yes.
Will that be on Rumble? We'll be able to see that on Rumble?
It's being done at 2 o'clock. It won't be broadcast then. It'll be uploaded later on that day or the next day. But just keep an eye out for that. It'll be Rick and I together in a studio, and we're going to be interviewing directly Chris Sky, who's in Istanbul, right? And we're going to be talking about the national strike. He may have some other things. He's very hot on the banks at the moment because he thinks the banks are all going to collapse. I think he's right. Let's help him. Let's all help him with the bill of exchange. So we're going to talk about that Tuesday. Okay, we are getting lots of other support. I'm trying to get the YouTuber influencer in Sydney, the Spaniard. I'm trying to get the Spaniard on board to get him to promote the national strike. I only need about 100,000 people doing these bills of exchange to absolutely blow this fiat currency system wide open. And the Spaniard alone gets 3.5 million views in one upload. You get me? One upload. We only need about 100,000. I'm saying to you, we do not need 80% of the population. That's bullshit. I might need 5%, maybe 10. That's it. It's over. You get me? We already have enough numbers to bring it all to an end right now. Right now.
Yeah.
The problem is, mate, we're all pointed in different directions, doing different stuff, different priorities, and most of that's engineered deliberately through the infiltrators and the secret societies that exist amongst us. What you've got to understand is this, ladies and gentlemen. I come from an entire world of factions. My world was totally run by using factions. That's how it was run, okay? All of the trade unions, all of the Communist Party, the Labor Party, the parliaments and everything else, it's run by using what they call factions, okay? And I come into the freedom movement and I see the entire freedom movement being run by factions. You get me? And then you say to me, oh yeah, this is all organic, and I mean bullshit, bullshit. We are totally and utterly stitched up, not here or here, the lot of it, the lot of it. Why do you think Bosey is coming under the enormous attack that he is? What do you think I'm coming under? I'm going to be coming under enormous attack because they can't get at me, mate. I'm not part of any group. I don't belong to anyone. There is only me. That's it. John Wilson, nothing else. But I bring a lifetime of experience with me. That's their problem. I understand their shit show. I know how it works. I am a systems thinker. They can't get around me. That's their problem with me. So the character assassinations are going to start and all the rest of it. This is how it rolls, right? They do not want this strike to be successful. I mean, I dare any of you, go and ask Malcolm Roberts, does he support the national strike? Does he agree that we have a belligerent occupation? Go and ask him. Go and ask Babbage. Go and ask any of these idiot freedom leaders. Go and ask them. They will not admit it. Won't.
I came in here by mistake tonight and watching the movie. No strike. Are you saying don't pay your rates, don't pay your rego? What I'm just asking, what does that mean? Because I ran in here by mistake.
Go to our website, nationalstrikeaustralia.org, grab a leaflet, it's got the website on it, go there, pick one of those 3 strike actions or all of them and go through all of the stuff that's up there and it will be explained to you, okay?
Yeah,
that's the best way of doing
I'm
it.
just trying to get it in my hand.
Yep.
What you're talking about.
Yep.
So that's how you do that, okay? There's too much information, just like I explained earlier on, with the information that we are now having to absorb, the complexity of it, right? You can't just do that in some big open, big rave party situation. You've got to, it's far better digested in small, intimate groups like this because you can get far more information across and the information is really, really close to that person's heart. It's really what they want. So these gatherings are very good. I would say to you, support the national strike. It's a winner. It is a laid down misere. People say to me, do strikes work? In 200 years in this country, nothing else has ever worked but strikes. Nothing. They're the only thing that has ever worked in this country. Why do you think the trade unions got so strong in the end? I mean, I know they're all a pack of shitheads now, but for a while there, they actually did some good stuff for a little while there, you know.
Excuse me, John. Can I just address this?
Sorry.
This gentleman was talking about why should we pay our money to the councils, and the answer to that is simple, because if you look at our constitution, it says any taxes, any kind of fees, any excise, etc., it's all voluntary, it's not compulsory. Whereas these councils, they're pushing slavery onto our fellow Australians, and what they do with our money, when they take our money, our ratepayers' money, they use it against us. So if that's not a good enough reason to not pay your rates, I don't know what is. You know, they use it against us to inject us with vaccines, to lock us down, to push the digital ID. So we are paying the enemy to harm or even kill us when we pay any form of government money, when we ever pay any form of government money.
What
So that's
section in the Constitution can we find that?
the Constitution of 1909. You will find, look up. There's a section about taxes. Okay, how do you think all these people in the elitist companies, they don't pay tax because they understand the Constitution?
Yeah, so
they quote the Constitution.
What section in the
I don't know, but if you do your research, you will find it's.
I would encourage everyone here to go and join one or more of these social media groups, right, that are there. They're tucked away. You've got to go look for them, right, where you get ordinary people sharing this sort of very, very high level. I mean, this is $200 and $300 an hour, Queen's Council research coming out of the mouth of a plumber or coming out of the mouth of a trucker. But it's good quality research, you see. We really are an ignorant people when it comes to the law in this country, and that is hurting us big time. It's hurting us. We've got to smarten up a lot more than what we are currently now, and it's designed to disempower us. Sir?
Yeah, hi John. I don't know. Talking about striking, I always remember my grandfather saying that the only thing that the common person has to negotiate with is his labour. So I suppose that's what you're saying is that striking is the only thing that's ever worked.
Nothing else has ever worked.
Yeah. Couple of questions. Have you identified the infiltrators?
I can sit down and name them all right now, most of them, but I don't think it's right. I mean, you guys have to work this stuff out yourself. Look, I'm an old communist. I am trained to infiltrate. You get me?
Yeah.
That's what I'm trained to do. So when I look around and I see and witness what's clearly a pissant infiltrator representing a sectorial bloody interest group or something like that, trying to get close into the inner circles, I pick them like this, mate. It's that's what I'm born into. That's what I'm trained to do. For you guys, it's a bit harder. But I'm just simply saying, judge them by their fruits. Always look at their fruits. What are they trying to produce? What's laying on the ground after they leave? If they come in and work on a project and leave and it's a big heap of turd and shit and trouble on the ground after they've gone, well, that's their fruits. And if you go round, I just simply say, I mean, why are we dragging tens of millions of dollars out of working class people and feeding it to the Australian Bar Association lawyers when they are part of the belligerent occupation? Why are we doing this? Why are we bleeding the Australian people of tens of millions of dollars and running court cases, paying these lawyers, going into Freemasonic systems, which we know are never going to deliver us any justice? We know this, it's a fact, right? Why are we being led in this direction? Why are we constantly being led to have faith in this belligerent occupation to the point now where, and again, I like some of these people personally. Malcolm Roberts, I like him. I mean, Malcolm and I go back a long way. This is not about who I like and don't like. You've got to get over that crap. But you've got Malcolm up now, and Pauline and others, and this is where I split. I say it's all belligerent. All of it is belligerent. And I have Romley Stewart, I've got Wayne Glue, I've got Dick Yardley, I've got bloody, all these other people that can prove that it's belligerent. Not me, I'm not making the allegation, I'm not saying it's belligerent. I'm relying upon an entire body of evidence written by a dozen people or more that says it's belligerent. So I know it's belligerent. That's the first thing, right? The second thing is, what shape is it? And then when you start looking at who is actually part of this belligerent occupation, who's making money out of it, you've got to ask yourself, well, why won't they talk about it? Why won't they talk against it? Why won't they talk in favour of the national strike? Why won't they interview me? Why won't the Aussie Cossack interview? Why won't Dave Onix? Why won't bloody Graham Hood? And on and on and on it goes. Why won't they ever post one thing? I mean, I done a nice poster. You asked the organisers of this event. I had a professional done a nice poster up about this event, not for me, for yous, to get people here. I put it up. How many of these people shared one of these posters? I'll tell you the answer, none. You did, Dale, at the back, but you're part of our family. I'm talking about the pissant influencers. Not one of them. Not one of them. You understand me? Why? Why would you not promote a public meeting? Not my public meeting. I'm just invited to attend, that's all. But why would you not promote it? I'll tell you. Because they don't want this strike being talked about. They don't want people having a strike option on the table. Why? Because they want you to fight your way out of one slave system. They want you broke, they want you tired and exhausted so that you're just going to collapse into a new slave system. That's what's going to happen to you. That's what they're barley up for. This is all Fabian war tactics. Go and study this. Fabian, General Fabian, never attacked full on. There was never a big full on battle. No. He cut your supplies off. He'd attack you at the rear. He'd come and have a skirmish here and all the rest. And everything he did was to sap your will to fight. That's what he was doing. He wanted you to give up and refuse to fight. And that's where they've just about got the Australian freedom movement right now. There's not much fight left in it right now. You get me? Not much.
Yeah. National strikes, they were successful overseas and they will be successful in Australia as well.
The national strike will work, ladies and gentlemen. I'm telling you. It will build and it will work. And it's the only thing that ever has worked, ladies and gentlemen. Get behind it, please. I'm not asking you to join anything. But please, go to the website and put your vote up. Vote. When you vote, you give me your name and your email and your postcode. That's it. That's all I ask for. And that gets you onto our mailing list so I can keep you up to speed with what's happening, okay? So go to our website and vote, and go over our website and explore it. Go into the strike actions and explore the different elements of stuff that we've put up there to help you come to terms with each strike action. Join our social media channels. Even if you're an absolute greenhorn newbie, we love you guys coming in, and we'll do whatever we can to help you, you know. And we answer all sorts of questions and provide all sorts of support. On Wednesday, I'm going out to Penrith. There's a whole bunch of people out there that just want to meet and talk about the strike. There's about 100 of them out of Penrith in Sydney, so I'm going out there to meet with them. And all organic. None of this is arranged. All organic. You can see how I travel. You can see, there's no money in this for anyone, mate. This is not a money. It's all about helping everyday Australians exit this Babylonian system, okay? They want to get out of it. They want to get out, but they just don't know how. And we're here to show them how. Yes, sir.
Oh, sorry, just a second question here with the mic and then someone else.
Sorry.
Yeah, g'day. Are you aware of a fellow Michael Rolfe from the Royal Registry and the LIP Living in Private?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Michael our strike action number 3, which is the bills of exchange strike action. Michael Rolfe is our foundation block stone, helping us put all that together. He's not the only one, but his assistance has been just indispensable. And the registry, yes, and we are going to be promoting that as well. But Michael and his connection of researching people and other activists, invaluable, mate. I'm hoping that these guys get, some sort of recognition when this war's open for the work they've done.
I'm going to Sydney next week to register with the Royal Registry. You have to have an interview with a steward, and so that's my progress with that anyway.
I didn't quite get all of it. You're going to Sydney to register? Yes?
To register with the Royal Registry, you have to be interviewed by a steward of the Royal Registry.
Not that I know of, but
Yes,
I'm not the person to ask.
You do.
I'm getting advice.
No, you
on
do.
it.
You do.
No, you do. Okay.
So I've been in contact with Michael to have an interview with him to register with the Royal Registry. So it's not just a sign-up thing.
Yeah, but Michael's invaluable. Yes, sir?
I'm Charles Norval from War Hope.
No sound, mate.
He's working, he just needs to put it right up.
Oh, okay. How's that? Charles Norval from War Hope. We know we've seen all these Senate inquiries. They do absolutely F all. They're just like it's theatre, and that's what you're saying about the belligerent system. That's part of the belligerent system. These Senate inquiries. What's stopping say 10 senators or members of Parliament going to the High Court of Australia with charges of treason? Nothing. They could do it. They could go to the Governor General and do the same thing. Both. That's it.
Yeah, okay, I got most of what you were saying. Okay, the question is, right, that, we get these inquiries and that, and none of them go anywhere. Now, again, Malcolm Roberts, brother Malcolm, and again, I like Malcolm. I'm not having a go at him. But he's out advocating for another Royal Commission, another Freemason Royal Commission in-house. That's going to go nowhere. We know, how many Royal Commissions have we had in this country in the last 50 years, and how many of them have done anything? None. That's it. So, and look, right now, it is entirely possible. I've been advised for a private criminal prosecution. That can occur. And the question was, why don't some of these politicians go out and criminally prosecute some of these people, right? Well, I asked the same question. What are the cops doing? What are these stinking cops doing, right? I mean, why do we have to have a Royal Commission to get evidence when we already got the evidence? We know what they did to us in Corona. We know all of the illegal stuff. Why aren't the cops just doing their job? Walking in, saying, right, we're doing an investigation, we're going to arrest you. Because they're all Freemasonic, mate, and they're never going to do their job.
You've got 7 judges on the High Court, 7 judges. If you get 10 members of Parliament going in there with charges of treason, they're going to have to listen to it. Because
but there's some...
The thing is, the thing is, they're going to, it'll get mainstream media. It'll catch mainstream media. You've got 10 members of Parliament.
Lawfare, look, I'll say this again. Lawfare has a legitimate place in the war. It does. However, it's not a remedy. It's not, right? The Lawfare has a place, right, to expose and to, hobble our enemy, but it does not provide any remedy, okay? We have a belligerent occupation, all of it, that has to go, including their courts, including their high courts. None of them are legitimate. None of them, okay?
John, is this on? I'm a bit worried about your nickname. You've denounced that, have you?
Look, it's a couple of things. Everybody now knows my history, right? Okay. I used to be a trade union lefty. That's where I come from. I was born into all of this, okay? And along my journey, I become a communist, right? And I was partly responsible for some of the stuff that's unfolding today. I say that openly, right? Okay. But it's also common knowledge that I have renounced all of my previous life, including any of the communist stuff, right? Mainly because I had a lot of time for the old school communists. I'm telling you, they were very tough men, very honourable men. But these pink pussy hat wearing faggot tranny bastards, mate, that are out in the Communist Party now, I can't cop them. I can't cop them. So I hate them. I hate them all, right? The second thing, I'm now a Christian. I was in the floods a couple of years ago in the Brisbane River, and I faced a 22-metre wall of water. I was on anchor up the river, not in a marina, but actually on anchor, and I faced a 22-metre wall of water that was full of debris, running at about 18 to 20 knots, and I survived that for 15 days. And during the course of that, and it wasn't because of my great seamanship skills, but because of God's grace and God's patience and all the rest of it, but he saved my miserable ass. So I'm now a Christian. I now owe the big man upstairs big time.
I used to be a farmer too, but I sort of still linger on.
Yeah. Well, I have intimate knowledge about all the left and all the infiltration. I mean, we used to train priests and put them in the church, and we used to train others and put them in here. And I mean, when you talk about infiltration and takeovers and all that sort of stuff, well, come and ask someone that knows all this stuff. Me.
What do you think about the Jew problem? Is it bundled with the Freemasons and all the rest of it? They run the world.
The Jewish?
Hey?
Did you say Jewish?
Yeah, the Jewish problem.
Oh, they're being cleaned up now, mate. They're being cleaned up now.
Well, they run the world.
Yeah, we have a tribe of them, these Khazarians, right? And they have they've hid in amongst a Jewish population, right? And they've taken on their identity, basically. And this Khazarian tribe have infected nearly every institution in the world, okay? And that includes the setting up of the fake Israel. That was done by Lord Balfour at Winteringham House in Scotland, lives across the road from a good mate of mine over there. All of that, we're aware of all of that. But what you're seeing now, this alleged war in Palestine and Israel and all that, what you're seeing there is a clean out. I
don't mean that. I mean all around the world. They own the banks. They run.
They're being cleaned out, mate.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I disagree.
John, I'd just like to address the gentleman here who was talking about taking the people to the High Court. As we speak, Penny Wong and Albanese are indicted before the International Criminal Court, which absolutely reinforces the situation where we must not pay anything to the government. If we do, we're aiding and abetting a criminal organisation. So if we pay our regio, if we pay our council rates, that's going towards a criminal organisation who are before the International Criminal Court. So we would be in violation of international law if us Australians, were to pay such money. So that's to answer the gentleman here was talking about. You were talking about taking some people to the. Yeah, but this goes on a new level. This goes on to international level. This goes in a higher level. You know what I mean?
The thing is, we know the separation of powers and rules doesn't exist. The whole three of them collude. But the point is, you've got to show the people. Yes. You've got to show the people that it is collusion. Of course. Now, the High Court come out and say to these 10 or whatever members of Parliament, look, you're wasting our time. Go somewhere else. Well, what's that? You've got to do that. You've got to actually face the enemies.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. No doubt about it. I believe such action will be commenced, in the near future, because everything has to be exhaustive. I mean, we have to. Us freedom people here, freedom-loving people, we're going to exhaust all avenues to bring the belligerent occupation down. Nothing is off the table. Yeah.
The High Court are the top criminals.
We've got about 5 minutes. Yes, sorry. We've got about 5 minutes left, so we'll just a few other questions.
Yeah, it's not a question as such, just a clarification on the bill of exchange. If you want to self-educate, there's a fellow in New Zealand who's been doing settling his debt by bills of exchange. Bill Turner, you can find him on YouTube and other platforms. Bill Turner.
Anyone else in the few minutes we've got left? We've got a question to comment, John, or comment?
How do you find the CEO of the Tamworth Regional Council and stuff? I have Googled.
Paul Bennett. Paul Bennett is the CEO.
Okay, and I'm just going to let just because I refuse to have the water.
Yeah, just say that they're going to charge you
$100 a month, a quarter, to read.
Yeah, so there's quite a few people that really didn't get these smart water meters that have got those letters, and the council's saying $100 a quarter. So we'll be able to talk about that afterwards. One of the suggestions here locally is that we're just going to write back to the council and say, look, thank you very much for the offer. There's no need for your staff to take the time to come out and read it. We're happy to take a photo and email it in to you. It'll be date stamped. So that was a suggestion here, but I'm sure the National Strike will have other answers for us. All right? Has anyone else got some questions they'd like to ask just before we...
My advice, guys, here at Tamworth is set up a small strike team. Okay, a handful of yous, and make contact with me, and I will put a lot of support in behind you, and you can be like a hub, an information hub, to help people with any strike actions. Okay, so that would be my recommendation to you. All right, there's nothing for you to join. I'm going to walk out. I'm not taking memberships. I don't want any of that. Right. But if you want to get yourself organised here, you've got to ask yourself, what are you putting your energy into at the moment, and what's going to have the biggest impact? Okay, they're the questions I ask myself. There's a lot of misspent energy going on out there, when in fact this national strike is a lay down misère. It's a winner. It's a winner. I'm telling you. I've discharged dozens and dozens of big strikes, mate, huge strikes. And everything about this strike tells me it's a winner. It's a winner. We've got an enemy which is weakening by the day. We have a membership base, us, which is mobilising and strengthening by the day. So the energy exchange here is all in our favour, and we don't need, I don't need 1 million people. You give me 100,000 people, that's it. 100,000. And we will smash this country to pieces. I'll tell you. Thanks, guys.
Just got a few minutes left. Anyone got a question that they want to ask?
Just on the Tamworth water thing. Which is it's just on the Tamworth water thing, and it's relevant to any council or any authority. As soon as you get a letter from them, you write back to them and say, under what authority are you writing this? And let them come back to you with the information, with their evidence that gives them authority and jurisdiction over you. It goes back to common law times, back in England, back in the 1628, the Bill of Rights and the Magna Carta, etc. It's quo warranto. Show me the proof, show me the warrant, show me the evidence.
They won't answer.
They won't answer. And you give them 28 days. You give them 30 days if you want to be generous to reply. Once they fail to reply that time, on the 28th day, or the 29th day, or the 30th day, you write another letter saying you failed to reply, you are now in default. And you get the process going, pushing back on them. For them, that they haven't given you the required information for you to work upon.
And they don't care.
Yeah, well, that's fine. You just got to keep pushing back.
Well,
Keep pushing back.
The other thing where I did do that letter, I did get a reply back from the revenue raising people said, if I have any thought of not paying my rents, I should seek legal advice.
Grab a speakerphone. I can't hear a word you are saying, mate. You're talking to the curtains.
My councilman Quevier, after I requested a copy of the contract, the rates coordinator wrote back to me and says, there is no contract. We do not have a contract with you. And I asked, where do you get your authority from? And they said the Local Government Act of 1993, 2026 when they merged. And I said, well, send me a copy of the proclamation page. Because the very first page of the Act, it says this Act enters into force when it's proclaimed. You look for the date, and there's no such date, stamp or anything. And I said, send me a copy of the Act, the copy of the proclaimed Act. And she wrote back and she sent me a blank page. A blank page. The seal goes here, the signature goes there, and the Act starts on this date. Not filled out. So they have no authority.
There's no proclamation certificates.
This is the evidence that just keeps building, folks. I mean, layer upon layer upon layer of evidence, right? That this entire bloody circus is belligerent occupation. Nothing that they have is fair dinkum. It's all fake.
Thank you very much, everybody, so much for all your input, and thank you from the bottom of our heart, John, for coming down, and
thank you, guys.
And the wonderful Jake for bringing you. Thank you very much. We so appreciate it. It's given us such a boost and a lift here.
Hi, so are you looking to increase your followers? Make sure you subscribe to unlock my tweet.
Yo, you looking to increase the size of your egg roll?
Buy my merchandise, please. Looking to transition into another woman? Oh, God. For Palestine. So I'm taking that as a no.
Liberals against Trump. Donate to Bill.
Buy some shitty coffee and support my page.
Support Biden 2024.